Hi, this is a second part interview, very interesting interview that we had with Robert Kirby. We're talking about character analysis and how we sabotage ourselves from our past traumas in our relationship. So the previous video, we went over the first three characters, which was intuitive, networker and humanitarian. There's two more that we're going to cover in this video, which is achiever and leader. So Robert, please tell us about the other. I'm just sitting here, I was saying to you, I'm just sitting here learning so much from you that it's very hard for me to come up with a question, because you're teaching me so much. So thank you so much for doing this, because I know that if I'm learning so much from you, our viewers will be as well.
Well, fantastic. It's very interesting stuff. And as I mentioned in the last video, I stand on the shoulders of masters that I learned from. So it's such a privilege for me to be able to pass this information on and help people through facilitation as well. The last time we talked about the intuitive, which is you, a person who feels that they don't fit in, they felt unwanted. And then the networker, who lives in a lot of fear, and they had a lot of abandonment issues. They got great people skills, but they often feel really needy in relationship. And the third one was the humanitarian. They're open-hearted, big, generous people, but as children they felt suppressed, and so they have a fear of taking risks. They have a fear of commitment, and so they have their own difficulties, their own challenges. Today we're going to talk about the achiever and the leader. The amazing men and women of the world who really stand out. Now, first of all, the achiever grew up very quickly. When they were at the Oedipal phase, like between the ages of 3 and 7 or 3 and 8, they were very involved in adult business. In other words, there wasn't a healthy generation gap between Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. The kids were sort of involved, and they had they knew information about their parents' problems that they didn't need to know. Consequently, it hurt them. They ended up with a broken heart because the children want the parents to be happy. And so what happens is their heart becomes so broken that they try to do anything they possibly can to please those parents and overcome that rejection. So what they do is they grow up very quickly. They mature quickly sexually. They're good in school, they're good in sport, they're very coordinated, their bodies are well proportioned, they're socially mature, they get involved sexually younger than other children, and they're in relationships often before other children of different other types of character structures. They're successful in life, they're really good at implementing systems, at organizing, at running businesses, they're good academically, they're good socially, except they have a hard time of commitment. Like, you'll get everything about them, but you won't get their heart because their heart is broken. So they have a hard time with giving and receiving deep love. And so, and often there's a split between love and sexuality. So if anyone's going to have an affair in a long-term relationship, it would be the achiever. And often their life is so good that's what drives them into therapy, because they don't need it, is that they have an affair and they could often risk everything or lose everything. And then, of course, they're reminded again of how deeply broken their hearts are. Mm-hmm. So that's their journey in this life. Even though they have everything, they need to heal their broken heart. So that's the achiever. And there's a lot of people like that in the world who are running the world. And then you have the leader archetype. Now, the leaders were betrayed, and leaders have a lot of difficulty trusting themselves and others, even though they have an enormous capacity to rise above chaos. That is why they're leader archetypes. So they saw in their early life a lot of chaos in their family, and they rose above it. They're like survivors. They see the future. They're visionaries. They have a big, loud voice. When they come into the room, they're often in the front of the room. They're the CEO or the business owner, and they're pointing the way. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. However, they often set themselves up to get betrayed, and it's enormously painful. And so they'll often find themselves on top of the world or face down in the mud. There's no middle ground for them. It's either all, it's all or nothing. And consequently, in relationships, they rush into relationship. They'll sweep you off your feet. If it's a male, Sharon, he'll sweep you off your feet. He'll tell you, you're everything I've ever wanted. He absolutely adores you. You're amazing. You're gorgeous. And then 4 months later, he'll go, I'm not ready for this, Sharon. I'm really sorry. I do think you're amazing, but it's just too much too soon. And you never see them again. So they'll have this tendency to cut and run, or if they feel someone is betraying them, they eliminate that person from their life. There's no discussion. I'm out of here. So they need a lot of work on that betrayal, and so to create trust, first and foremost, trust inside themselves, and then finally to be able to trust other people and know the difference. Do you understand what I mean? In other words, they often, because they've been betrayed, they get snookered. They'll trust people who are untrustworthy.
Yeah.
And they won't trust people who have their best interest at heart. So they're very complicated beings, but they have a lot to offer the planet because they point the way into the future.
Well, Robert, that's just so interesting. And, it's quite often the way, isn't it? We attract what we don't want because we're focusing on things in the wrong way. So we're focusing on what we don't want, and so we're attracting what we don't want. That's a whole new conversation.
I'm so glad you said that, Sharon, because that is one of the masterpieces of understanding character, strengths, and weaknesses. Because if we're in the energy or the consciousness or the mindset, of what's wrong with us, the fears, the lack of trust, the broken heart, rejection on it. So if we have that first and foremost on our mind, we attract that in a business partner. We attract that in a new lover. And so we set ourselves up, as you and I discussed earlier. We can recycle this stuff again and again and again, and it's absolutely gut-wrenching.
Yeah. You often hear people saying, I'm looking for a man, but I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want that. And it just makes me like, oh my goodness, do they realize what they're attracting? Because, in my clients, I'll say to them, like, your mind will, it'll give you what you want. Your energy will give you what you want. But your mind, you've got to understand how your mind works. And so I always say to them, like, imagine a monkey riding a bicycle. No, sorry, I'll say it the other way. Do not imagine a monkey riding a bicycle. And, obviously the monkey is going to pop up in your mind. And so when you're saying, I don't want this, I don't want that, you're telling your brain, this is what you do want. So the words that we say are really, really important as well. So, Robert, that was just amazing. We've been talking outside of this, and you've said that we can have all of these parts within us, but primarily there's one or two that really drives us in our life. I can relate to all of them, but generally the intuitive would be more. So we're going to delve a bit into my life.
All right. And, very interesting life it is indeed.
Yeah, thank you.
Woman, I've known you for how many years? 6 years, 7 years? I don't know.
Quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, so you're amazing, and as you indicated that you related most to the intuitive, and so this is why you have such an incredible ability to channel spiritual information when you work with your clients. You're brilliant because you're so intuitive. Of course, some of the downside is you and I have discussed that we share this in common. The feeling that you don't fit in. You fit in everywhere a little bit, but not completely, and you don't fit in anywhere completely. So, and there's that, that you've healed in the past, that tendency to have terrors. It could be night terrors or nightmares or just feeling not safe on the planet. One of the ways to overcome this is to get grounded. Now, a good way is called earthing. Now, there's a book called Earthing that I think is written by Sinatra Ober and another scientist. But it essentially is, you can just take your bare feet, put it on the grass in the backyard, or walk in the park, or even just sitting, putting your grass, or on the beach, going for a walk on the sand, which really stimulates electromagnetic energy running through the body and really ground you. Other things that you can do is grounding exercises. There are exercises in bioenergetics. Even just jumping in place, for a minute or two can make you more present and make you more emotionally, spiritually, and energetically available to connect with another human being. Often, too, the people have difficulty with survival because they're disconnected. They live in their own etheric world, and so they'll struggle with manifesting. So one of the things that you can do is what I call scissor chops. You lay down on a mattress or a bed, and you keep your legs stiff, and you chop them up and down like this. I call them scissor chops. And you want to slam the belly of your calf muscle on each side into the mattress. And with each time you hit, Sharon, you make a sound. It's like, ha, 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 ha. And so you can build up to do 100 a day. It's a good way to start the day. It gets the energy down into your feet, into your legs. It connects you to your heart. And over a period of time, you'll get more and more present, more and more grounded. I remember Alexander Lowen, the amazing psychiatrist who helped develop body psychotherapy, and in particular bioenergetics. He used to do, even when he was in his 80s, he would do 300 kicks every morning before he got out of bed, because he wanted to start the day being present, being grounded, being focused, being able to manifest what he wanted, directing his own energy out into the world, and living from his heart. So that's your homework, Sharon. I want you to
Thank you. It's actually, I'm interviewing you at the right time, because you obviously realized I've shaved my hair off recently because of an autoimmune disease. And because my energy is low, I'm finding it incredibly hard to stay in my body without zoning off. Wow. So I think there's times in your life as well where, I'm very aware that I do spit off a lot, but actually I'm finding it that I've sort of resorted backwards at the moment. When I'm having a conversation, I have to be consciously aware of focusing on somebody. Whereas when I was feeling well, it was becoming more and more natural. So that's quite interesting to me as well.
Beautiful. All right. So look, you got your homework, and the viewers now have an overview of character analysis. Of course, it's just a little bit of a sample, a little bit of a sneak preview. But I definitely feel that whether it's that you want to be more successful in business, or have a better relationship with yourself, or kind of patch things up with family and friends, or find a new lover, or if you're in a relationship, get that relationship to the next level, all these things are dramatically aided by working on character analysis to strengthen your strengths, first and foremost, and to transform the character weaknesses. And it's a beautiful process to watch someone go through that and come out the other side and really owning their gifts. Because these gifts that we have, there are gifts when we're 5 years old, and there are gifts when we're 85 years old. Mm-hmm. And so it's never too late to work on these things and to manifest our heart's desire. So yes, I love talking about this. Thanks so much, Sharon.
You're welcome. And before I let you go, you do lots and lots of free stuff for people, and you run courses.
Yeah.
Heartfelt relationships in Sydney. Yes. You run that fairly regularly as well, don't you?
Yes. We have heartfelt relationships once a month now in different parts of Sydney. So it's easy it's relationships.robertkirby.com. So you can tap into that. But we also are running a course called Career Accelerator to really help people. And again, once again, character analysis is part of what we do, but we do other things as well. And if people who want to get their career, like for example, the cost of properties in Sydney now are going through the ceiling. Yeah. So if you live in Sydney, let's say, or anywhere, the costs in Australia are really, really high. So you have to get up there into leadership to get the kind of wages, the income that you deserve, or if you want to get a business to a new level. But one more thing is we have a new one for the first time. We have what we call Leadership Accelerator, and it's 1 day and it's free. So we're going to be running that often in the greater Sydney area as well. So I just thought I'd mention that. And it's great talking to you as always. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome. See you next time. I'm sure, we have done loads of videos with you in the past. And if anyone wants to have a look in our membership area, or we've got lots of Robert's interviews up on YouTube as well. You can get to see a lot more of him. And obviously you can go to his website, robertkirby.com, and you can connect with him one-on-one there.
Fantastic.
So, Robert, thank you so much for coming in.
Blessings. As always, always fun. Have a
Yes,
wonderful
it is.
weekend. Bye now.
See you. Bye.